Hello and welcome back to Sprite Guard Plays Hyper Rogue. We're having a pretty good run today, and I have been talking about how I want to plan this out a little bit better and really make this series something that I can be proud of, and that I want to kind of explore the story that I feel, the sort of sense of adventure that I sense within this game, and see if I can turn that into a little bit more of a narrative, and see if I can really make this series more entertaining. Because that's really, at the heart of it, the thing that I most want to do is entertain people. And it's going to take me a long time to figure out what the best way is to do that. But that is my end goal. So, where are we right now? We have unlocked Hell. We have 10 gems in each of 9 types. We've also unlocked the Hive and the Graveyard. And we're going to need to get things from there. So the next things we need are 10 totems from the Graveyard, and 10 daisies from Hell. So because there's a graveyard right here, I want to hug the wall a little bit and see if there is anything that we can easily pick off in here, and I'm not seeing anything, so we may have to go out a little bit further to find what we're looking for. So the reason we need 10 totems from the graveyard is because that lets us get dead orbs. And dead orbs that I thought were used for walls, they don't actually block movement at all. You can't block monsters with them, they just go right over them. What you can use them for, though, is place markers. Because you have to find your way back. When you touch an orb of Yendor, a key spawns 95 tiles away. And you have to... oh my goodness. You have to find your way back to the orb of Yendor from the key without a marker. And so you need to use the dead orbs to leave breadcrumbs, basically. Now, I want to be really super careful because there's a lot of stuff coming at me, and there's this shadow guy who will follow in my footsteps, and so I can't stay still for very long. And then this necromancer will continue to pull zombies and ghosts out of the graves. So that crossroads that I was trying to stay close to, I think, is lost at this point, so we'll just have to find another one. Or maybe we'll find... I saw there was an entrance to a hive, so that is another possibility, because we definitely want to check out the hive. I would like to try and go on a Hyperstone quest while we're in the end game here. So I have a lot of things that I can do once we grab our 10th totem. And that is a little bit further off than I thought it would be, but it looks like we've got just enough to round us out over here, and Icy Land. Not very appealing. Possibly more appealing than just wandering around in the graveyard, but I feel like we can do better. We just need to stay ahead of the shadow and be aware of any necromancers or ghosts. Ghosts are the most problematic because they can go through columns and they will chase you down in pretty much a straight line. So they can be pretty dangerous, but that... ah, no, that's Land of Eternal Motion. I thought that was a hive. So the hive, we need to get 10 royal jellies, which are pretty fun to collect. I played the mobile version recently, and I was playing around in the hive, and that just kills the frame rate. I mean, I was playing it the way you see it here, with a very wide radius, and with the Escher tile mode, which they both slow it down considerably. But then once I went into the Hive, it went from like 20 frames per second to 5. Just because it had to render so many of those insects all battling each other. So I am starting to get a little bit nervous not being able to find my way to a crossroads or to a hive. But we're starting to see dead orbs, which are very valuable to us. I think I want to collect at least 10. I'm not sure exactly how many I want. I'm going to have to be careful about staying out of the way of the shadow. We're actually picking up a pretty good number of them here. Usually I pick them up in the crossroads. But this is nice that we're able to get a head start on that. Now, if we can just find our way to the crossroads, that would be even better. And maybe I'll just, let the presence of dead orbs sort of lead me around as much as I can. Saw one over this way that I now have lost track of. It's difficult for me still to scan the map and be really certain that I have gathered everything that needs gathering. But I think that's something that I will get used to in time. One of the things that I talked about in the episode that was not to be was this idea of passive learning, of that I really like practicing games and studying them and learning about them that way. But that there's this whole other type of learning that I kind of discredit sometimes, where basically just being exposed to the game makes me better at it, makes me more able to see what's going on and make decisions about it, and gets me more used to the mechanics, makes it so there are less surprises, which is both good and bad. So, since we haven't really seen an entrance to hell yet, I think I'm going to go into the hive. I still am not really sure how to read these markers, but theoretically, in some way, they should lead us to the nests of hyperbugs. But generally, I've just had to wander around relatively randomly, hoping to find one, which of course was pretty difficult when I was playing it on mobile and the frame rate was really low, and I had to find another nest of a different color than the bugs that were chasing me, so that they would fight and I would not be trailing 49 hyperbugs behind me. So let's see if we can find our way to a different colored nest, and these hyperbugs will continue to chase us. There are other useful things to do with hyperbugs. They can fight monsters in other areas as well. I have gotten sandworms and eagles off my tail with them in the past. Now, that is the wrong color, or rather, it's the same color, so I'm not going to get anything from it. So I'm just going to have to continue to make my way through the world and hope that nothing goes really amiss. I always worry that something is going to happen that will cause me to, like some other monster from some other area will get into the hive while I'm battling hyperbugs. So now I really just need to kind of move around the outside of this nest and wait for the battle to resolve. And I can fight some of them off myself, and it looks like I will need to. But mostly it's a matter of waiting for them to fight each other down and then collecting the royal jelly. And it looks like we actually got 8 here. You always get either 7 or 8. And it's not always certain which you will get. So now we could look for another nest and do this whole thing again, but if I see an exit, I may take it and just try to change up what we're doing. I'm not really keen on going back to the jungle. There's nothing there for us. So it's again just a matter of setting out and hoping that we find something. And I really would like to learn how to navigate by these things, but I really cannot figure it out, and I'm not even sure how to approach it. Like, are they rings around the hives? That seems likely. They haven't really seemed to fall in lines that I could tell. But circles in this game are very disorienting, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to see one of the new areas. There's a very difficult area with no monsters in it, which is... I thought it was a little strange when I saw on the post, oh, this is a puzzle area, and then the puzzle seemed really simple. And then when I actually got into it, I could not figure it out. It actually ended up being very difficult. So, okay, so here is a hyperbug nest. We've got some hyperbugs. It looks like they are now chasing us. So now let's see if we can find our way to another one. And again, going to have to wander around somewhat randomly because I still don't know. Oh, there's one. I do at least know how to recognize these tiles. And I almost got a little bit too close in there. Almost got squeezed between those two groups. But I can just watch them battle from a distance. And some of them will come after me. Let's see. It looks like the yellow forces are overpowering the blue forces. Oh, green forces are overpowering the blue forces. So now I need to figure out how to get away from these guys long enough to fight them. Now, it looks like the fight has moved far enough away that I can just grab the last couple of jellies that I need. And then these guys are nicely lined up, so that went really well. I am quite pleased. Just hoover that up, and now we are looking for an exit. And we are probably going to avoid any other nests that we see. Forest is probably not any better than the hive. So one reason I guess I don't have to worry that much about monsters attacking me while I'm being chased by hyperbugs is just that hyperbugs will fight other monsters. So, okay, so what's next? Hell is next. Hell is our destination. And we're going to maybe have to travel a little ways. It looks like it is not really wanting to spawn for whatever reason. There it is. So there's a greater demon right there that's going to make it a little tricky, but we got in, and now we just have to fight the lesser demons off, and hopefully we can escape this greater demon. May take us a while, but we move twice as fast as it, so we can put some distance between us. So hell is tricky. We need to collect 10 demon daisies, and then we need to find an orb of Yendor, and that will get us the next tick along the way toward the end of the game. So this is really properly what I would consider endgame content, as far as I know. I haven't made it past this point in the game before, so it is possible that there is more yet to see. I know that the Hyperstone quest is kind of a side thing, like a kind of like a 100%, as far as I understand it. So that is 10 of those. So for the Hyperstone quest, we need 5 more wine is the first thing that we'll need, and then we'll need to get gems from every single area, 10 gems from every area, and the hardest of those will definitely be the Land of Power. That place is terrifying, it has killed me many, many times, and I do not expect to survive it this time. So I will probably put that off in the name of kind of having this game go on as long as possible. And if I get a chance to get a Yendor victory without a Hyperstone victory, I will probably take that. I will probably not try to push my luck, because I would really like to get a victory in this game. And the last time I checked, I think 6 people had had victories in this game, so that could take a while. And Hyperstone victory looks to be much more difficult. So I'm not seeing, we got 10 Demon Daisies, but I'm not seeing any Orbs of Yendor. So I'm not sure why, but we can get into Cocytus and gather some gems from here, and this will at least move us forward on the Hyperstone quest. And this area is pretty dangerous, but I have started getting kind of a plan for how to navigate it, and there are these crystal sages that will come after us that will start melting the ground out from under us, and then there are these demon sharks that will chase after us, and that's what happens if a demon falls in the water. So that's something we want to avoid. So here's a crystal sage. And crystal sages will heat up the ground under us and really give us a hard time. And we can fight them just by getting near them, because they'll heat up the ground around us as well, which will melt them, actually. So if we go up to this guy, see, that melts him. And so we just have to keep moving so that the ground doesn't melt away from under us. And then we can either escape from or fight the crystal sages. And we only need one more of these gems from the Cocytus, and then I would like to find a silver mine, a dead cave, because there is something pretty interesting that I want to show you there. So here's a crossroads. Hopefully we can get there in time. I believe there is something after us, some kind of crystal sage. Alright, Orb of Shielding. Don't really feel like I need that right now. Let's get some distance. Let's see, what's this? Orb of Winter. I found out you can actually walk through fires, so these are actually very useful in the Land of Power, so I will keep an eye out for those. Here's an Orb of Yendor. I thought that was a dead orb, but that's an Orb of Speed. Color blindness strikes again. So I was thinking, well, that will be our 10th dead orb, and then we can try for a Yendor victory. But there's still some stuff that I kind of want to show you, and so I'm hoping that the correct lands will spawn. I haven't been getting a lot of variation in the lands that have been spawning. There have been a couple of different places that just haven't appeared. So I am hoping that that will change. And I'm wondering if not collecting the gold is why the silver mines are not appearing. So I may actually have to give up on holding off on that and just head into the next living cave that I can see. I was really hoping that I could get the dead caves without going into the living caves, but let's see if this will unlock it. And I don't know if we will need 5 of these or 10 of these or some other number. So we're getting into a lot of unknowns now, and I want to be careful because I am quite late in the game. There's going to be a lot of hazards. Normally I go into this part of the game earlier on, and so there's not as much after us. It looks like we have opened up the emerald mines, and we can continue on here. That is 9 gold, and that will be 10. So if we've unlocked anything, it should be unlocked now. And now it's just kind of hoping that we run into it or find a way to get to it. So this is pretty troubling. We've got a lot of rock trolls after us. And I am a little worried that I might get trapped. But it looks like I can get far enough away that I won't get trapped. And now we have an Orb of Life. which will give us a golem. And then the rock troll immediately destroys the golem. So that didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. But hey, we have an orb of life now. We can get golems. And let's see, orb of earth. This will let us dig. So that will give us much improved mobility in the living caves, because we can just dig through walls like this. And I don't know that that will get us where we're going, but it will at least give us the opportunity. It looks like it's good for quite a while, quite a few turns. So we can kind of use this to just brute force our way through the living caves and hopefully find a crossroads. I think that would be the best thing to find. And I don't believe, yeah, it won't let us dig through the troll corpses, but it will let us dig through the walls around them, which is almost as helpful. And we still have 32 turns of that, but it doesn't seem all that useful right now. I think by the time we actually see something that we want to get to, it will have worn off. But there's hell. Let's see. Well, it looks like we may be going into hell just kind of because we have no other choice. So we'll go through hell, and we will come out the other side stronger, better, and see what we can do. And I am starting to kind of get worn out even after the break I took. This is, I mean, it's a good thing that this episode's going on a long time and I'm seeing a lot of new stuff, but I am, really starting to get worn out even having taken a break and even, having freshened up and gotten my blood flowing a little bit. I'm still starting to slow down what I'm able to say, how much I'm able to talk, and I'm also becoming more nervous as I get deeper and deeper into the game and there's kind of more and more at stake. Though, as I've mentioned in other videos, there is really nothing at stake. Nope, can't move through that. Thought maybe I could, because the tiling gets a bit odd in certain areas, especially in the Land of Power. It can sometimes look like two tiles are not connected when in fact they are. And that took me a while to get used to. Now, I am really starting to worry because there's a lot of stuff coming after me and I'm not really able to deal with it effectively. And I keep hoping that I will get the 10th demon kill that I need to kill one of these greater demons, but it's just not happening. And so I think maybe a better thing to do, a better plan, is just to run away and hope that I find an appealing exit. This really has felt like a run where exits have been much, much more difficult to find than they normally are. We do still need more wine, so grabbing these two is a pretty good idea without a huge amount of risk, though there's always a certain amount of risk in going into the vineyard. And now I can't get out, so I'm just going to have to flee through the vineyard and hope that I can block the passage of this demon, maybe? Or or hit game over like that. Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear any thoughts that you have in the comments. I do definitely want to start making this a more adventurous, more kind of exciting series, and I do still want it to be something, really make it into something that I can be proud of, but that is going to be a long way off, and it's going to be an exciting journey, and I hope that you will join me. And if you do, I will see you in the next episode. If not, then thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.